Hi there, welcome to the Big Idea Food Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Ive from Big Idea Ventures. Today we're talking to Betty. Betty is the founder of Confetti Snacks. She's on a mission to change the snacking industry with her fantastic vegetable-based, imperfect vegetable-based, wonderful snacks. You should really try them. You should try the mushrooms. I'm a big fan. Take a look if you can find them wherever you are. If you're in the United States, I think she'll shortly be launching them, if she hasn't already when you listen to this, in Amazon. She's also everywhere in Singapore, across multiple stores, supermarkets, channels, and so on. So if you're interested in a lady who's building an amazing company, a mission-driven company around imperfect vegetable snacks, please listen to this podcast, comment, like, and so on. Let's get into it. Thanks. Betty from Confetti Snacks, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Andrew. It's lovely to be here.
It's lovely to be here. So I'm seeing a whole range of boxes behind you, lots of snacks, veggie chips, written on the boxes. I'm hoping if anyone's watching this versus listening to it, they can see the same things too. These packagings look really good. You've changed them you've changed them in the last year or so. What's been happening? What's been going on with Confetti?
Yeah, lots of things, Andrew. So Confetti is really a mission-driven company, and we're trying to bring more colors into global snack aisles. You know, a majority of the snack aisle is still dominated by an ocean of yellow. Everything is either extruded corn puffs or they are deep-fried potato chips. And we would really love to change that. So Confetti is a celebration of colors. We use upcycled produce and turn imperfect produce as well as crop surpluses into amazing, award-winning, colorful snacks. So we can impart more joy to global consumers and have vegetables portrayed in a very fun way.
So you're using colors, you're using upcycled, imperfect vegetables to create a whole new range of snacks. Is that because it's more nutritionally beneficial, it's more nutritionally dense, it's ultimately better for people who are snacking on vegetables versus potato and extruded stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. So our whole goal is to make veggies fun and yum for the world. So as you know, different colors have different sets of phytonutrients that are really good for us. So what we do is, instead of having potato chips or extruded corn puffs, we really emphasize on low starch, high nutrient density vegetables such as radishes, carrots, shiitake mushrooms, and okra. And they really come with a burst of plant goodness. Yeah, so as you know, different vegetables and different colors have different sets of phytonutrients that are very good for us. So say the mushrooms, they are really light, airy, and crunchy, and we have lab tested it. So it's a really excellent source of calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc.
And that's a natural source, right? This is not something you're adding vitamins or things to. These ingredients, these vegetables are naturally nutritious.
Yes, that's right. So we craft our snacks in such a gentle way. We really respect the nature and the integrity of every single vegetable and their nutrient density. So we craft it in a very low temperature, so it maximizes the nutrient density, and then at the same time, it's still scrumptious and delicious and crunchy. And of course, we infuse them with amazing flavors inspired by the world. Singapore is very much a culinary heritage and a hub of melting pot of different cultures. So we really want to be very inclusive as a snack company and really celebrate the different flavors and culinary cultures of different heritages as well as different cultures. So for example, we have teriyaki barbecue inspired by the Japanese community. We have summer truffle inspired by the Eurasians. And we have tandoori inspired by the Indian culture. So, we really want to bring diverse cultures together and really celebrate different vegetables, different colors, and also bring people together by celebrating diversity.
So let's just briefly go through your SKUs. What are the different ingredients and the different... so I go along to a supermarket aisle and I look for confetti. What are the kind of products I find?
Yes, great question. So you would have... we have the vegetable range where it celebrates different colors like, teriyaki, truffle, tandoori, infused into these vegetables, which are radishes, carrots, mushrooms, as well as okra. And then we have one line exclusive just for shiitake mushrooms because people really love mushrooms and their fungi. So we decided to create a range of it. So we will have a black truffle, green curry, and they are really celebrating different spices and culinary authentic recipes of each of these cultures that we try to infuse into our snacks. Yeah. So we have.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Andrew, would you like me to share my screen so I can show pictures, or should we just do this audio-wise?
Well, I'm actually seeing behind you the products, so I think people can see them. I mean, if you want to grab, for example, the shiitake mushroom package and show people on the camera, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure.
So for anyone who's watching, you'll be able to see Betty showing some packaging. Okay. Yes. So it's a kind of a green package, lovely mushroom cups. Lift it just a little higher. Awesome. So and that's not chocolate or anything. This is real shiitake mushroom that's been dried at low heat so that it's got a really nice crunch to it. And the flavor in this case is a green curry, correct?
Yes, absolutely, Andrew. So green curry to celebrate the Thai culture, and then you can really taste complex elements of top, middle, and base notes of crushed kaffir lime leaves, creamy coconut milk, turmeric, and various spices, which celebrate Singapore's unique culinary heritage. And at the bottom, we have a fun veggie joke as well. So we have lots of different puns that we put below. And of course, you can see all the nutrition facts behind. It's an excellent source of calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron.
I was going to say, tell us from the nutritional pack at the back, what is these snacks got in them?
Yeah, it has vegetable spices. There's turmeric, various spices that have high ORAC values or antioxidant values. At the same time, there's also a rich source of calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron. So not only does this taste better than a Cheeto or Dorito or potato chip, it's not only very moreish and scrumptious, it also has a burst of plant goodness that is good for us. Yeah. And then, we have summer truffle as well. Yeah, so it has low starch veggies. So, most of the snack companies have very high starch veggies like potatoes or root vegetables. So what we do as a company is we use low starch veggies like, carrots, radishes, mushrooms that are not only moreish and colorful and fun to eat. At the same time, it's packed with so much more vitamins and minerals.
Now, most people are not big fans of like radishes and things in terms of day to day, but somehow, and I've tried your products, somehow because you've made them crunchy and sort of a little bit salty, some of that spices, it's turning things that I would never have eaten, raw into something I'm very happy to eat on in handfuls of. So I think it's really interesting what you've done here. Now you talked about the different flavors. So truffle, green curry, and teriyaki. Is this product not oriented towards kids, given that it's healthier? It's more adult centric. Is that right?
I would say kids love it as much as adults. Yeah, it's very hard for kids to like vegetables. Parents spend a lot of time persuading their little ones to have vegetables. So when they eat something so crunchy and delicious, they love it, they get addicted to it, and they get their parents to buy more. Yeah, and because our flavors really stand out, and it brings people on a culinary adventure around the world. With COVID, everyone is stranded in their own countries, and we are using snack as a medium to bring people to exotic parts of the world, even to very far-flung countries, and bring them on a culinary adventure across the world. Yeah, so they can taste, summer truffle from the Eurasian community. They can taste, green curry from the Thai community. They can taste tandoori from India, and they can also taste teriyaki from Japan. Yeah, so
it's liking different. So, for example, I think my daughter would have loved the teriyaki. She would have probably loved the truffle. I'm not so sure whether she would have liked the curry and the what was the fourth flavor?
Teriyaki barbecue is by the Japanese community.
Okay, so I think maybe the curry she would have probably avoided because she's not a big fan of like spicy things as a child. But
Yeah,
I think the sweet ones and the truffle she would have probably loved.
yeah.
Do you
So
find
what we have
do you
done,
find children? I was gonna say, do you find children have preferences, or are they liking all flavors?
yeah, they are liking all flavors because we deliberately catered all the flavors so it's not too spicy. So even young children can have it without any problems. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So when we say green curry, you can taste like turmeric, lemongrass, various spices. But the chili itself, we keep it at a minimum, so young and old can all enjoy this snack.
And in terms of the flavors, have they been have they been brought to the snack in a natural way, or
Mm.
how have you brought those flavors to the vegetable?
Yeah, so we took a long time to experiment, 18 months of R&D to taste the flavor profiles. We work with different, contract manufacturers as well as flavor houses to perfect, the nutrient density, the cooking method, as well as the spices and the texture, mouthfeel, as well as the flavor profile. Yeah, so we went back and forth multiple times with our flavor partner, which is Jovadon, to get it to taste just right. You know how you make a perfume and then there's the top, middle, and base notes. It's the same for taste as well. There's top, middle, and base notes, which we took many, many months to perfect.
And
Yeah.
Givaudan were good partners in that process.
Yes, they're perfect. They're very patient with me because I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect. So they have really, yeah, been very patient, and we have been back and forth so many times to ensure that we get the right flavor density and it's still light, airy, and crunchy while maintaining the authentic roots of the culinary recipes that we use.
So are they still talking to you? Are you allowed back in the office?
Yes, yeah, we speak quite regularly. I haven't been banned yet from their offices.
There's still time. There's still time. Let's do some more cues and see what happens.
Yeah,
So how did you come up with this idea?
yeah.
What made you sort of want to drive forward with a snack which was not only different and tasty and leveraging sort of upcycled, imperfect vegetables, but were so moreish. How did you kind of come up with the idea, and how did you drive it forward, or did it evolve?
Yes, it did. So it started off from a world tour that I did with my parents, with my mom. And, I was on a world tour for 3.5 years, and I was hiking up the mountains of British Columbia. So in those mountains, I was really struggling to find the perfect snack. The protein bars felt very bland and sterile, and it tastes a bit like cardboard. And then we have potato chips that gave me a sore throat because they are deep fried. And, every time you deep fry something, there's so much carcinogens that is evoked from that cooking process. So I found that it's very hard for me to find a perfect snack to bring up the mountains with me. So, apples and fruits and vegetables, they're quite heavy. So it weighed down on my backpack. So it's really hard to climb up. So I started experimenting when I was in British Columbia. So I started visiting farmers markets. I really love food. I love cooking. So I decided to get some fresh produce from the farmers markets. Then I slice them up and I season them with authentic flavors inspired by where I come from. As you know, Singapore has a very rich culinary heritage, and I started slicing them up. I was feeling quite homesick. I infused them with authentic recipes inspired by Singapore. And I dehydrated such that it's crispy and light and crunchy, and I shared it with my friends and family, and my neighbors living near me, and everybody loved it. So they asked me the golden question, which is, can we find this in the stores? Because if we can, we would definitely love to buy it. So that gave me the idea and the light bulb moment for me to bring this concept back to Singapore and get this to commercial terms where we are today. So I pitched the government, and they gave us the first funding to kickstart the company and to give us the working capital to create this. And then we started getting to the trade shows. Everybody loved it. We started winning awards as well. Like, we have been featured on the Michelin Guide, and we also won the Best Gourmet Snack Brand of the Year. So we have come a long way since then, and we find that people actually really love eating vegetables. So we got more and more people on board, and now we are actually scaling up. We are in every major grocery channel in Singapore now, the major supermarkets, convenience stores, specialty food grocers, online market platforms, as well as offices. More recently, we also have a partnership with hospitality groups like KrisFlyer by Singapore Airlines, where you can redeem your air miles for our snack bundles. At the same time, we are also in the gift shops and hospitality channels like hotels.
So if I go on a Singapore airline, I'm going to be given a little confetti bag when I sit down on my chair.
We are you are able to get into the KrisFlyer Singapore Airlines website, and then you can redeem your air miles for our snacks. Then to get us onto the airlines, we will need a mini pack, which we are getting out soon, and then we have to negotiate with them because they are very strong in bargaining, and we shouldn't tell them about it.
Don't worry, they're not watching. They're not watching the video. Don't worry. Okay, so British Columbia with your mother going up a mountain, wanting something that's both delicious but light, and again, you wanted to sort of bring the flavors of different cultures, which Singapore is very known for. Bring those flavors together in something that would remind you of home. I totally appreciate that. When was this mountain climb, and take us through some of the journey since then in terms of bringing your own snack line to consumers, given that you weren't from the food industry, I think, and this was sort of a crazy idea encouraged by friends and family.
Yes, that's absolutely right. It's inspired by travels, and I find that when I travel, I get the best ideas, and I really love making food, cooking, and sharing that with the world. To my friends and family, to see people happy really makes me happy as well. And this journey hasn't been easy. My background, you're absolutely right, it's not in food, but more in marketing. So my background is really in marketing and branding, and I'm quite a creative person. So I find that creating confetti has really been a very strong creative outlet for me to explore ideas, to self-actualize, and really to bring a crazy idea into the world and into the shelves. And trust me, it hasn't been an easy process. I have to pester every single buyer, force myself into their offices and pitch them about why they should carry us, because shelf space is really prime real estate that people feel very reluctant to give up, especially when you are contending and competing with the largest billion-dollar brands in the world, like Lay's, like Pringles, like Doritos, like Cheetos. We have to fight for shelf space, and as a newcomer, you really have to convince the buyer why we are so different, why we are so special, how we are adding values to their shelves, for them to be convinced that we have a product here that is better for the consumer. It's not only healthy, it's vibrant, it's colorful, it's fun to eat. At the same time, it's so much better for the consumer because it has so much vitamins, minerals, and fiber.
Now you mentioned you're on many shelves in Singapore. Yeah. You're in most of the grocery stores, if not all of the grocery stores, multiple outlets. You won that discussion. You won that battle. So yeah. How did you convince the buyer, given that you're new to the industry, that you're a very young company? How did you convince them to take a chance on you?
Yeah, it takes a lot of persistence, and it's not a one-off thing. We have to knock on doors. We have to keep following up with them, and of course, we are equally aware that behind us, there's a few hundred people queuing up to speak to them. So I really need to convince them that we are super differentiated. In the snack aisle, it's still dominated by an ocean of yellow. Everything is potato chips, is high in starch. It's all deep fried, and there's so much carcinogens there. We are in the snack aisle, one of the rare, most superior in terms of nutrient density, and of course the taste and the mouthfeel is amazing. And when they open one of these bags and see all the colors, it's so good for entertaining, and kids really enjoy the colors, and the same for adults as well. They love this with kombucha, they love this with green smoothies. Especially with the pandemic, we find that our sales have gone up in terms of cumulative growth. So we find that, especially in the pandemic, people are very conscious about what they put in their mouths, and they really want to take care of their health. So they not only want indulgence, but they want permissible indulgence. They want something which is not only tastes amazing, at the same time is also good for them and gives them the plant-based nutrition that they need. Yeah. I think the COVID... Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Take us through some of the steps from lady climbing mountain with,
Yeah.
dehydrated fruit and various vegetables in a bag with spices, to big boxes of dried, dehydrated, great tasting snacks behind you. Take us through some of the steps that you needed to go through to get to where you are today.
Yeah, so firstly, I would say the consumer is king. It's super important to win the consumer on the taste. You have the best, most nutritious product in the world, the best design, but it tastes like cardboard. No one is going to come back again. So it's very important to win them on the taste. So the first thing we do is to convince the consumer. Do they love it? And really, do they love the taste, the experience? We really need them to feel, wowed or really delighted when they taste the snack. So the taste is number one for sure. And then the secondary messages will be the fact that, hey, it's sustainable. We're addressing food waste by upcycling imperfect produce or crop surpluses. And then the secondary message should be, it's also a feel good effect. The fact that, it's also very nutrient dense, it's high in fiber, minerals, and vitamins. Those are afterthoughts. I think number one for any food company is definitely the taste. Are we able to convince them on the taste first? Then, of course, after that, we need to focus on the packaging, because before they get to try this, they need to be won by the packaging and the design and the branding itself. It needs to capture their attention. Snacks is very much an impulse purchase. We only have a few nanoseconds when a consumer walks past the snack aisle and decide to choose you, among everything else that day. So it's very important for us to capture their attention, pique their curiosity, and get them to choose us in those nanoseconds. So we spend a very strong effort. We have a very strong branding team led by Michael Kravitz, who is our creative director. And, we spend so many months working on the branding, the messaging hierarchy, the brand messages that we want to convey. And, we managed to get it together in a very cohesive way. So it's very strong. And after we get that, then how do we communicate it to the audience? What messages are we choosing to communicate and convey our sustainable messages? So yeah, there's many points of truth when they encounter the brand, to capture the attention at the get-go. And after the second moment of truth, when they bring it home, they open up the package, they eat it. Wow, this is amazing. It's so amazing. I'm going to tell all my friends. I'm going to go back and buy the next few hundred times. So those moments of truth are very important, and we need to get all of them right. And of course, pricing is very important as well. It can't be too expensive that they can't afford it on a regular basis. So we need to find the right price point and also communicate the messages in a very strong and cohesive way.
You mentioned sustainability.
Yeah.
Is the package and the packaging of the product sustainable?
Yes, it's very sustainable. So, our raison d'etre, the whole reason of our existence is really to address food waste and to end hunger. So when I started off, just climbing mountains and hiking and enjoying my world travels, I stopped the travel, I cut it short to come back to focus on this full time. I wanted to create a brand that really resonates and leaves a very strong impact in this world. So one we can do is really tackle food waste. 2.8 trillion pounds of fruits and vegetables are thrown away every year, simply because they're ugly, or they're just, even an apple, if it's too big or too small, they don't make it onto the supermarket aisles. It needs to be just the right size. So there's a lot of unnecessary waste, and they don't make sense most of the time. And we feel like, we really want to change that, address food waste, upcycle these crop surpluses and imperfect produce into a nutrient-dense, award-winning and useful snack, to delight consumers and see them smile and happy, and something that is good for their bodies. At the same time, a portion of whatever we do goes to feeding the hungriest people in the world. So the faster we scale into global markets, the more we can do to tackle food waste, address them, and upcycle and repurpose them to something useful. At the same time, it protects food security across different nations. And the more we can do to end hunger, also donate to hunger relief efforts for people who can't afford food.
And from the packaging itself, is that a silver foil, or what is it?
Yeah, good question. So our very first prototype was done in a compostable form, and because it's such a fragile matter, it actually becomes fertilizer for the soil within 26 weeks. And because Singapore is so hot and humid, it started developing micro holes on the packaging that made our chips soggy. So I needed to go back to the manufacturer and ask them to do more R&D to perfect it. So in the meantime, it's made from aluminium. like 99% of the snacks in the supermarkets. But until we get that prototype that allows us to be compostable, what we are doing now is, we can also work with companies like TerraCycle. We can upcycle this to roofing material to reinforce the roofs and shelters for third world countries, or to provide housing for refugee camps. So these, after you wash it out and you stuff it with newspaper, we can use it to fortify refugee shelters, roofing material, and there are a lot of people homeless people who die from the cold every winter in Europe as well as US. So these can even be made as sleeping mats or tents to house the homeless people as well. So we are exploring ways of how we can upcycle this for emergency housing and shelters.
So how does that work? Basically, when someone's finished with the package, what would they do with it?
So we will they have a central place where they can collect all these empty bags. Then somebody would clean it out, and then we can stuff it, say, with newspapers, or we can just send it out to camps or refugee societies so that they can use it to fortify roofs in third world countries.
So in Singapore, they're collecting these bags and recycling them. I don't know if we do that in the US. That's a great question. So I'll go and find out about that as well. Now,
Yes.
you've mentioned you're growing very quickly in multiple channels in Singapore. Is there anywhere else that we can find you, or what's the plan in terms of taking this outside of Singapore?
Yeah, great question, Andrew. We are really excited because, we have our Confetti Snacks sitting in a warehouse in New York right now. It just got in 1 week ago, and we are super excited. So in Singapore, we are very pleased to announce that we are in all the major grocery channels. We are in FairPrice, the largest supermarket chain. We are in Media. We are in Cold Storage, Shell 57 outlets across the island. We are also in specialty stores like Taste Gourmet Market, Orion Grocery, as well as the largest bookstore chain in the whole of Southeast Asia. So it's called Popular Bookstores. And of course, we work with gift companies as well, like Noel, and we are in Michelin fine dining restaurants around Singapore. And we, of course, our recent collaboration with Singapore Airlines allows users to redeem their air miles for our nutrient-dense gift sets and our snack bundles as well. And also very happy to announce that we are in the schools as well as the universities. So National University of Singapore, SUTD, as well as Nanyang Technological University. We are also in these universities. So in summer, we are actually looking to launch officially in both North America, namely USA, as well as Middle East in Kuwait. So the containers are being prepared at the moment so that we can do an official launch in summer. And we are going to do a soft launch in New York in May. So please look out for it. We are going to be in some specialty stores in Soho in New York City. And we'll also be doing a soft launch in Amazon US. So it would also help us to facilitate, negotiations with big box retailers in USA, so that in summer, during our official launch in August, we will be able to, consumers will be able to find Confetti Snacks in their local stores as well.
Same flavors? You're going with the same green curry, teriyaki, truffle, etc. in the USA?
Yes, and for the US, we have a special surprise, because the mushrooms are flying off the shelves here. So we decided to create one more variant, which is called Black Truffle. So these mushrooms will also come in Black Truffle, which is a new product that we are going to launch in US. And of course, Andrew, you gave us amazing advice at the get-go to have mini packs so that we can access more channels, like hotel mini bars, like cafeterias, kids lunch boxes, as well as, when people go out for picnic or hikes, they want small packs. So we have also, as a US exclusive, when we launch in August, we will also have the mini packs ready. So these two flavors would come in mini packs as well.
So when you say these two flavors, I'm just reading here, the mushroom chips will have a mini sizes, and the vegetable chips, and the mini flavors will have the mini sizes will have all the flavors, or just
two. Yeah, just two. Yeah, because we will just have the summer truffle in veggies, and it would have the green curry in mushrooms. Yeah, we are just doing two SKUs because our major focus would definitely be food service like Subway or Pret a Manger or Starbucks. When you want to grab and go a mini pack, I don't think the counter space has much space for too many SKUs. So we decided to just prioritize two of the best-selling one for mushroom and one for vegetables.
Are you doing multi-packs where someone can buy 10 or 12 at a time?
Yeah, we're exploring that right now. So if they buy a carton, then they would have like 5 different flavors in one. So I think the parent can throw a different flavor into the school bag of their child in a different day. So Monday to Friday, they have a different flavor every day.
I'm sad that my daughter's 18 because I can't send her to school with any of your confetti products now. That would have been perfect. I made her pack lunch every day of her school career, from junior school, middle school, up to high school. I think it would have made my job easier with confetti snacks.
Yeah, I think you can send her big bags now because she's a grown-up girl.
I should send them to university. Yeah, I'll send them to university using Amazon. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in Soho in the summer in New York. And then obviously people can go on Amazon if they want to try confetti snacks if they're not living in the New York City area. I'm guessing they'll ship it anywhere, right? So anyone in the US can try these products.
Yes.
What about price? How does this price compare with Lay's or with the sort of potato chips you'd get in a supermarket? Is it like 10 times more expensive, or what's the price difference?
I would say that, we have done a very strong in-depth competitor analysis. So in the US market, we also compared the price with Bear Snacks, with Lesser Evil Snacks and Terra Chips. So I wouldn't compare us with Lay's and Pringles because, number one, they have economies of scale. They're huge. And number two, they're using a very cheap ingredient, which is potato chips. And I can never compete in terms of pricing, in terms of them using a very cheap ingredient. Our ingredients are very expensive. We have mushrooms, we have carrots, we have radishes. So the ingredient cost itself is quite high. So we would classify us as a premium snack. So we have done an in-depth competitor analysis in the premium category. So we are competing with people like, Lesser Evil or Bear Snacks or Terra Chips. And in that space, we are quite competitive. So our mushroom snacks go for $6, and our vegetable snacks go for $5. So it still falls within the realm of an acceptable price bracket in the premium snack category.
How are you, you shouldn't really ask a question if you don't know the answer in these kind of situations, but how are you getting the ingredients in the United States in terms of mushrooms and things, or for the short term while you're building the market in the US, are you bringing those products from a manufacturer in Asia, in Singapore, for example?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, great question, Andrew. We, as a very sustainable snack company, which is mission driven, we very much want to keep everything hyper localized. So our factory in Malaysia supplies to the Singapore market because it's only 30 minutes drive away. We want to keep everything hyper localized, sourced, packed, out of Malaysia and sent to Singapore, to reduce our carbon footprint and our carbon emissions to regulate climate change. What we want to do is really be as gentle on the environment as possible. So for US, we have talked to contract manufacturers in the East Coast for several months now. Our MOQs are quite low right now because we are still a challenger brand. Sorry?
MOQs?
Yeah, MOQ stands for minimum order quantity. Yeah, for industry terms. Yeah, so the MOQs that they require is much higher than what we have now. So the first few orders, we are still going to send out of Asia. But, once we get the critical mass and the volumes up in place, what we are going to do is source out of US and then manufacture out of US and supply to the domestic market, which gives us several advantages. So firstly, it would reduce our lead time. Number two, it will make our supply chain more efficient. And number three, we are being hyper localized, which means that we are reducing the carbon footprint and also sourcing local and, really contributing to upcycling imperfect produce within US itself. so that we can really leave an impact and also support the local farmers.
That's great. One company you should talk with on the mushroom side. I'm a big fan of a company called Smallhold. So SMALLHOLD. These guys have come up with really innovative ways to grow mushrooms efficiently. So when they started, they were creating these racks inside of restaurants against the wall, so that restaurants could actually grow mushrooms in the restaurant and have it totally fresh and ready to go. And these guys are just very, very creative. So let me make sure I connect you with them offline. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Andrew. And there's one more exciting thing which we thought about of doing, because we are so much into upcycling imperfect produce, and this space have gotten so much traction with Thrive Marketplace or imperfect boxes, or even what is this called? It's backed by Ashton Kutcher. I think they just raised 101 million recently. These subscription boxes that they send imperfect produce to your.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of them, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just having a comment.
Yeah, exactly. So if we get it into imperfect produce boxes, or even Thrive marketplaces, then we can not only be aligned with their mission of upcycling ugly produce, we can also really get the snacks to more consumers around America. I think Americans are still struggling a lot with obesity, especially with the pandemic. People tend to comfort eat more. And if you want to comfort eat, we rather give you something indulgent, but then you don't have the guilt factor after. You can enjoy and indulge in all the plants and vegetables you want with confetti. At the same time, it gives you a burst of plant-based nutrients, and of course, there's less calories and lower in starch.
Now you say all of that, and I'm sort of in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is it really delicious if it's better for me, and it's got all of these nutrients, and it's not really fried, and is it really going to be as yummy as a dark russet potato chip? Now the reality is, I've tried your products and they actually are really, really good. Now I'm a big fan of the mushroom. I think everybody is a big fan of the mushroom, but also the vegetables were great too. The okra for me was another one of those vegetables that was just sort of unexpected. When I see a bowl of your confetti now, I sort of look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that thing next, and then I'm going to try the next thing. For me, I just started picking out all of the okras and the mushrooms because for whatever reason, they really appealed to me. So you should do an okra line at some point, providing that makes sense to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can even do a limited edition, Andrew Eves, limited edition, whatever flavor you want, with just mushrooms and okra.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm sure that you shouldn't risk the business on doing something like that. So where do you see confetti being? And let's kind of give a time. Let's say in 3 years' time, if everything goes to plan, to the kind of Betty Lou plan, where do you see confetti being in 3 years' time?
So I see us in all the major developed countries of the world, every single snack aisle. There's 198 countries in this world, and every single supermarket has a snack aisle. We feel like we have something that is a more superior proposition in terms of the taste, the nutrient density, as well as the flavor profile. The whole experience of snacking on it is so more rich and scrumptious, but it packs so much more nutrients inside. So I see ourselves being, targeting all the premium countries first and the premium grocery channels. So it can be supermarkets, convenience stores, specialty stores, natural food stores across the world. But we focus in the more developed countries first, like, EU, UK, North America, Middle East, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong. Just targeting these places first, because we don't have economies of scale like Lay's and Pringles. So we still have to have a premium pricing, which may not be something affordable for third world countries or developing countries yet. So until we get to those critical mass and drive down the cost with economies of scale, we need to really focus on markets with a high disposable income. So we are going to focus in these markets first and really ensure that, we get the sell-through and the critical mass in these places and these traditional grocery channels. Of course, we also want to focus on the e-commerce side because D2C and online marketplaces give us a much stronger gross margin and our profit margin is much higher, which allows us to sustain and grow much faster as well. So we really want to focus on a e-commerce strategy and, really crush it, squash it. Under Confetti is a veggie company, so we call it Squash It by Michael Kravitz. We need to squash it in these channels and really find out, what is the get-go and the right strategies to employ in the e-commerce space as well. So as you rightly mentioned, Amazon US actually exports to all the 48 or 49 states. Sorry, how many states are there? 49, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, so 49 states of US, and then this would actually be out. Even the specialty stores in Soho have been chasing us for our snacks since last year, so I need to get it to them. So that would be the soft launch in May. So this month, sometime this month, you'd get it on Amazon US as well as specialty stores in Soho, and then the official huge container 40-footer would come in on the first week of August. So by then, we aim to be in the major big box retailers.
So how long have you been on this journey? I mean, obviously, let me ask a slightly different question. When were you walking up that mountain looking for, looking for a snack that was light and tasty and didn't taste like cardboard? How long ago?
So that was. It was about 2.5 years ago. It's 2018. Yeah. So and we have made so much development since then. As a human being, I feel like I've grown a lot. And we work with amazing people. We have worked with amazing VCs like Big Idea Ventures, who really nurture the best entrepreneurs in the world to change the world's biggest challenges. Yeah, so I actually memorized your tagline, which I find that is so true. The amount of talent that our VCs as well as our team bring is really phenomenal. Personally, I find that it has helped me on my personal growth and journey. We wouldn't have got to this scale today without the help of the team and our investors. They have really been backing us every step of the way, and I find that to learn how to bring a product into the shelves and getting it out in a commercial and industrial scale really takes a lot of effort. And without the team's talent and their hard work and their grit and tenacity, we wouldn't be in these shelves today.
So the funny thing is, for a large company with endless amounts of money and people, they would generally take more than 2 years, more than 2 to 2.5 years to have a product like you have behind you on the video camera. It would typically, with all of their people, with all of their resources, it would from idea to final product in the market would take them longer than you've taken. Your ability to do this so quickly, so well, and have it in all of the sort of key channels across Singapore and relationships with the airlines, universities, etc., is just incredible. What would you say has been the reason why people have sort of got behind you and wanted to help you make Confetti a reality?
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. I think it's down to me being very annoying because I love pestering people, and maybe I pester them until they say yes. That applies for team members, to retailers, to buyers. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I take no as an answer, which is something which my mother has imparted to me. Last weekend was Mother's Day, and I grew up in a single parent household. My father passed away when I was 3 years old, so she brought me up single-handedly. She has a lot of grit and tenacity and determination. So, from young, she always taught me not to take no as an answer. So I've always been persistent, and the real reason is I really see a lot of value which Confetti can bring. 2.8 trillion pounds of edible produce are thrown away every year, while 8.6 million people die from hunger every year. With one concept, we can resolve two major problems in the world. We can upcycle this, we can upcycle food waste and, repurpose produce that would otherwise end up in the landfills and make them to something useful. At the same time, the more we scale and the faster we grow, we can really contribute to end hunger and raise, we tag our goals with hunger relief efforts, and we can actually contribute more to United Nations World Food Programme and offer nutritious meals and emergency food aid to people who can't even afford to have a proper meal and they are starving to death. So it means a lot to me personally. I think that's why I haven't taken a salary for the first 2 years, and I work every single day without taking a weekend off. That the thing that drives you needs to be more than money. I think it really needs to be the mission about why we exist, to tackle major problems in the world by addressing food waste and to end hunger is something that, I think our team really believes in. That's why they hustle behind me and the confetti. And the thing is, I don't have much money to afford them in wages. We are very much bootstrapped from day one. We have been extremely capital efficient. So I pay my whole team with chips and ESOP. And and I think the only reason why they would do that is because they really believe in what Confetti is trying to accomplish in terms of hunger relief as well as, to upcycle food waste and sustainability.
I think all of the amazing things that Confetti can do is doing is a testament to how much of an impact a single person can have with a big idea. What this also comes back to, though, and this is something you mentioned right in the beginning, is taste, because having all the best wills in the world, if this doesn't taste great and if it doesn't taste better than the potato chip that you want to replace, having all of the best wills in the world won't make people stop eating the potato chip and start eating the confetti snack. The great thing is that this does have that taste, and I'm a testament to that. And anyone who tries this product will be pretty wowed by the experience. In terms of getting help and support, I know that you don't want to keep paying people in vegetable chips instead of money and so on. In terms of how consumers, investors, business people, potential retailers, distributors, etc., how can people get in contact with you? How do you want people to help Confetti become a kind of household name?
Yeah, I really feel like this is a collective effort. I really love people, and I love the fact that having a very strong team, with our current team of our C-suite as well as our investors, I find that this confetti as a concept really benefits from the collective intelligence of the group. I think that's very critical to our success so far. And, not only that, we have found very strong brand partnerships in other F&B brands, which are also very keen on sustainability. So, our snacks not only are more rich, but they also pair well with a juice, a kombucha, a acai smoothie, a yogurt. We have even found fast food chains that have worked with us. So I find that collaborations are great. I really want to work with the best minds in the industry. So we are currently raising a Series A, which we intend to close very soon. So we really are looking for like-minded investors who can really nurture us in terms of our goals and our international expansion, and bring more, vibrant colors and vegetables and fruits to the table and pantries across the world, so that we can offer something that is so much better than a potato chip. And potato chips are still 90% of the market. They are still the market leaders. And, what we have is something that tastes better than a potato chip, is better for you. It tastes, looks, and feels better in your body as well. So I find that, we have something that can really revolutionize the snack space. And we are always looking for distributors, for partners to get in touch with us, as well as investors who can really help us with our goals. So we can be reached on confettisnacks.com. And you can also follow us on our Instagram page at Confetti Snacks. So that's the best way to get in touch with us. Yeah.
And does that mean that you would or would not want a partnership or relationship with, let's say, Pepsi or Mondelez, or folks who are in that potato chip business? Do you see you guys being collaborators at some point, or do you see Confetti being completely separate, completely different, and you don't see a relationship there?
I definitely see a relationship with players like PepsiCo, Mondelez, Coke. I would think that we would definitely benefit from their distribution channels. The fact that they are very strong in terms of distribution network, supply chain infrastructure. We can definitely capitalize on that. And furthermore, say PepsiCo has also invested in players like Bear, which is a healthier snack brand. As you mentioned earlier, as a startup, we are more nimble, we are more flexible, we can move and make decisions faster. And of course, we have a brand story that is very strong and inherent to us. That authentic brand story is something which I feel, the Lay's or Pringles of the world, they can't go overnight and start telling people we do healthy chips. It would be a complete brand disconnect in the consumer's mind. So I think it's easier for them to acquire us as a brand, rather than having to try to get Lay's and get Lay's to start making healthy veggie chips overnight. I think the consumer may not feel convinced by that. Yeah, so I would definitely, look at them as a potential acquirer of our brand one day. So they can still keep the authentic brand image and the brand story, and help us to grow in terms of our volumes and, our expansion to international markets.
And the goal would be to keep Confetti doing what it's doing in terms of upcycling imperfect vegetables and the kind of sustainability aspects of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wouldn't work with an investor who doesn't care about our mission. The only two reasons why we exist is to address and upcycle food waste and also to contribute to end hunger. So I would always be on the board. My investors can have their exit strategies, but I will be on the board forever because this means more to me than, it's not a monetary thing to me. I really want to leave a legacy and an impact that would last for many years after I leave this world as well. So I'll always be on the board if they would have me. And then I would work with a bigger player for distribution networks and of course to grow the brand internationally. But I would need them to respect, our values and our ethos and our philosophy about, why we are creating this company and the mission behind it.
I think that's great. So getting back to timings, in terms of the US, when do you expect people to be able to go to Amazon if they're not based in New York City to be able to start placing orders? In fact, just maybe when can I start placing orders for the mushroom product? Just give me a date. I'll set it on my calendar, and if you don't deliver that on that day, I'll harass you until you do.
Yeah, so we are looking at a timeline of May, sometime in May. Yeah, and then we have a VP of sales for Amazon. His name is Clint, so he would facilitate that. And then in US, we are working with a very strong distribution partner. So they would facilitate the discussions with the big box retailers. But I think for Soho, for the Good Smart, for Amazon US, it will be sometime in May, and I'll keep you posted.
Please do. Well, maybe we can time the release of this at the same time as when that product's available, so that people, or maybe a week before, something like that, so people can be ready to buy. So Confetti Snacks, CONFETTI snacks.com, Instagram. Are you guys TikToking it and all the other things, or is it mostly Instagram at this point?
Yeah, Michael wants me to get on TikTok, but I've no idea what that is, so I need to figure that out. Yeah, so he was saying, like, Betty, why haven't you created a TikTok video? I have no idea what that is, so I think we need to work on that, because apparently he tells me it will go viral very quickly. So let me work on that. And then
make sure you go register. Make sure you go register Confetti Snacks across all of these different platforms, so that you don't get squatters taking your brand on these platforms, because they'll try and sell it back to you for lots of money, and you don't want that.
Okay, great. I hope the squatters are not listening to this right now.
Well, this won't go out. This won't go out until you've had at least a month from now to get that ready.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, last passing thoughts for anyone listening, especially. I'm not sure how I put this, but I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there and women entrepreneurs out there who will be applauding what you've accomplished. I'm applauding what you've accomplished, just as a person. But how would you encourage, or what would you say to women who want to be entrepreneurs? I'm going to stop the question there and expect lots of hate mail for the fact I even asked the question.
Okay, I would say this to all women entrepreneurs. Stop letting anyone call you a woman entrepreneur. We don't go around calling male entrepreneurs male entrepreneurs. It's so sexist. I really hate that. So please stop doing that and never allow.
I'm going to cut this out. There is no way this should be on the video. No way at all.
And the other thing is, I feel like whatever you want to do, as long as you really feel very passionate about it, just get the ball started. No matter how crazy it is, just get the first foot forward, and everything you want along the way would, gather to you like a snowball. You attract all the talent, all the resources, all the investors that you need to get it actualized. But I think the more important thing is you really need to have that fire and in your belly and that passion. And, if you really, really want something, I think all the resources would gravitate towards you to help you to self-actualize. And the other thing is, I think the Singapore government who invested in us, even our VCs like Big Idea Ventures, Food Ventures, Innovate 360, as well as New Fong and Jacqueline Sell, who are our angel investors. I don't think they've ever discriminated. They are just looking at you as an entrepreneur, and market forces decide every day whether you are relevant or you should be on the shelves. Consumers look at the packaging on the shelves or the CPG final good on the shelf. They are completely immune to the fact that you are yellow, brown, black, tall, short, young, old, male, female. They don't even care if you're an alien. They only buy the product because they love it. They love the taste. They love your product. They love your brand and your mission. I think that's why they support the brand. So I think do not ever let this gender thing get in the way, because I feel like, as women, we have a lot of potential as well. We are very meticulous. We have strong EQ. And of course, Andrew has very strong EQ as well. So does Christian and everyone on the beef team. But I'm just saying, for women, we have intuition, we have ability to sense and be sensitive to people's emotions. And I find that you can really use all these things in your favor and your detail orientedness in your favor and really commercialize something very special. And whatever you have inside you, in your mind, it deserves to come out. The idea deserves to be created. If you see that there's a value, it will make other people happy or alleviate other people in any way, then, you have the responsibility to bring it to the real world and commercialize it, just to respect that, before life is really short, right? I lost my dad at such a young age. I don't even remember what he looks like. I have no recollection of him. Life is so brief and short and fleeting. So it's very important, like whatever you have in your mind or in your heart to do before life is over, because we have a very brief amount of time in this world. Yep. So go for it and get in touch if there's any way I can do to help, any women entrepreneurs. Just let me know and I'm there. Yeah.
It's interesting that 50% of the companies we've invested in are female entrepreneurs. Which is, given the demographic of the world, is pretty is as it should be. We as a company at Big Idea Ventures are very much focused on the big idea behind the company and what everyone's trying to accomplish and what are we backing and why are we backing it. Gender isn't part of it, but asking the question I asked is very much about making sure that anyone who's watching this, who's sort of hesitant and are using, whether it's gender excuses or age excuses or whatever. I mean, for example, I've invested in a founder that was 85 years old. I've also invested in a founder who was 16 years old and needed her mother to be part of the accelerator as well, because she wasn't allowed to be in New York on her own. Or coming along to an office on her own. And we backed them because at the end of the day, it's not about age or, as you say, race or gender. It's about what are they trying to accomplish, and do they have the tenacity and the willingness to not take no for an answer, like you said right in the middle of our discussion. Someone who's going to push this big idea through to success no matter what. And I don't think that tenacity is specific to any age, any gender, any race. It's a very individual thing, and I'm realizing as I'm talking to you that your tenacity probably comes from growing up without your father, being a single parent child, and knowing that you're going to have to push hard to get the things you want in life, and you're prepared to do that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, thanks, Andrew. My dad he passed away when he was 35 at a very young age. So there was a lot of things, he died with a lot of dreams not fulfilled. So I always feel every day when I wake up, I have to live on behalf of him as well, to respect the time that, he didn't have. So I find that even though I lost my dad at a very young age, but my team and my investors, I see them as father figures as well. So I might have lost my natural father, but in replace, I have a lot of father figures in my life to help nurture. Yeah, and I find yeah.
I was going to say, I think whatever happens to Confetti, and I personally believe, as an investor, it's going to be wonderfully successful. But whatever happens to Confetti, I think your father would be proud of the person you have become and you're becoming as you go through life. So whether or not a snack product arrives on the shelf, and I'm not minimizing that, it's been an incredible accomplishment to get where you are, and the fact that it's solving or helping to solve some of those major problems is incredible. But I think he's going to be much happier about the person you are than the product that you're making.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, I think that means a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So no, please don't do that. Okay. So
I shall not cry on a podcast.
Confettisnacks.com. CONFETTI snacks.com. If anyone wants to connect with Betty, find out about the product, support the product. It should be on Amazon in the US in May, June, I would say, just to be on the safe side. And if you're in Singapore, it's pretty much everywhere. So I'm going to stop the video now, and thank you for your time, Betty. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Andrew, for having me. Thank you.
Hi there. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Betty from Confetti Snacks. Please do reach out to her if you want to help in any way, if you've got any questions, or if you have any feedback. Really look forward to getting your engagement. So that was today's podcast. This is Andrew Ive, your host from Big Idea Ventures, and this is the Big Idea Food Podcast. Please do like us, subscribe to us, and tell others. We rely upon the gratitude of strangers to get this out to as many people as possible. So again, Big Idea Podcast. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation with Confetti Snacks. Bye.